Today on Cruiseman's Garage, I'm going to show you how to replace your halogen bulbs with our new Pathfinder high-performance LED bulbs. Now, these are direct replacement plug-and-play LED bulbs. They offer instant on operation, no warm-up time, and they put out a fantastic beam while minimizing glare. These Pathfinder LEDs allow you to upgrade to the modern LED look that everybody wants. They'll fit in your stock headlight housing. And it's a simple installation. You can do it yourself with just a couple of tools. There's no extra wires or relays, no bulky harnesses to install. And best of all, you're going to reduce the demand on your power system. So let's get started. The only tools needed for this job are a 1/2-inch socket and a ratchet and a Torx 25. To gain access to the headlights on the Road Glide, we'll need to remove the front fairing. Place a towel on the front fender to protect the paint. On each side of the fairing, there are 3 Torx 25 screws that need to be removed. One is at the top under the windshield, one in the center, and then a lower one down below the glove box. In addition, there are 2 1/2-inch nuts on each side of the inside of the fairing that actually hold the turn signals in place, but they also hold the fairing on too. These will need to be removed as well. Begin by removing the 3 Torx 25 screws on each side of the fairing. There's 6 total. Now you may have to move the handlebars from left to right to get them out of the way so that you can gain access to these a little bit easier. And keep these in a parts bowl. Obviously, we'll have to reinstall these later during reassembly. Notice that the bottom Torx screw is longer than the top and the middle one. And now you can use the 1/2-inch ratchet to remove the nuts on the bottom inside of the fairing. Now, as you remove these nuts, there's also a washer underneath each nut, and make sure you remove that as well. And keep all of these in a parts bowl. Here's a tip. If you're going to remove the nuts from above rather than below, always put your other hand on the gas tank so that the handle of your ratchet doesn't accidentally hit the tank as you're loosening or tightening the nuts. Again, there's 2 of these on each side of the fairing. You'll need to remove all 4. With the nuts removed, you can now remove the turn signals and just kind of pull them out and let them hang. I like to use a soft rag to keep from scratching the chrome. To remove the fairing, carefully lift up and pull back at the same time, and the fairing will come loose. You can now set the fairing on the towel that we placed on the front fender, and this will give you access to the bulbs. To remove the wires, press in on the 2 tabs on each side of the plug and pull up, and the plug will come loose. Now here you can see the little tabs I'm referring to. You can now set the fairing off to the side, preferably on a soft towel or a soft area so it doesn't get scratched. Personally, I like to use this opportunity to use some water or a damp cloth and clean the inside of the fairing. Get all the dust and dirt and grime off. It's a good idea to do this just to keep everything clean. Simply pull up on the edges of the rubber boot to remove each one from each light. Next, twist the retaining ring counterclockwise to release it, and you can then remove the bulb from the headlight unit. Now, I'm only showing you one, but of course you're going to do this for both of the headlamps on the Road Glide. So here you can see the flat edge. See, it's round here, flat here, this flat edge. So this is going to sit right down in here like this. Basically, very simple. Now the problem, obviously, is this retaining ring that holds the bulb in place simply won't fit over this heat sink that's on the back of the LED. So what we have to do is we'll have to remove this mounting tab from the bulb. The way we do this is just give it a little twist. I would avoid touching this LED if you can. Try not to touch this with your finger. Probably wouldn't hurt it, but I just don't like to do it. So we want to twist this, give it a little twist, and this little mounting ring will come off like that. Now we're going to mount this using the retaining ring, and then we'll slip the bulb back in, give it a quarter of a turn, and it will be installed. Don't forget the rubber boot. Rubber boot goes right here. Take our bulb, line these two little nubs up with the two slots in the base, twist, and now we're ready to go. Now these plugs are going to plug into the receptacles that we disconnected when we took off the fairing, when we disconnected the original headlights. After carefully placing the fairing back on the front fender, you can now install the plugs into the receptacles that come from the motorcycle. My first tab was a little bit bent. I had to pry it up a little, no problem, and then insert into the receptacle, and do this for both of the headlight bulbs. You'll notice two notches at the top of the headlight unit on the inside of the fairing. Now these will slip down over two metal hooks that protrude from the front of the road glide, and you'll do that when you reinstall the fairing. So you line up the fairing and you just kind of set it on those hooks, and then it will hold in place while you're able to reattach all of the screws. Now we're ready to reinstall the turn signals by inserting the bolts through the fairing, and make sure you put the washers on the bolts before you reattach the 1/2-inch nuts. Then using the socket and the ratchet, go ahead and tighten all four of these. Remember, there's two nuts on each side of the inside of the fairing.